He has been called a character actor in a heartthrob's body. Actor Jeremy Irons' career began on the British stage in the early 1970s. International acclaim followed his performance in Brideshead Revisited and The French Lieutenant's Woman. He's won the Tony Award for Tom Stoppard's play The Real Thing and the Academy Award for his portrayal of the enigmatic Klaus von Bülow in Reversal of Fortune, both co-starring one of his favorite leading ladies, Glenn Close. He now stars with Meryl Streep, Vanessa Redgrave, and once again Glenn Close in the new film of Isabel Allende's epic story, The House of the Spirits, and I am pleased to have him here. Welcome. It's great to have you here. Let me just ask one thing before. Are you taking some time off now, or having finished this, did I read somewhere that you're going to take some time off, or was that?
I've taken some time off, which I tend to make 1 or 2 films at the most a year. Yeah. And I made 4 pictures on the trot, finishing with House of the Spirits, which I finished last May. Right. And I wanted to spend a bit of time taking in. You know, when you're filming, especially with me, I tend to be shooting on the first day and shooting on the last day. So it's sort of 3 months of pretty concentrated work, often away from my family. And if you do 4 of those in a row, you want to stop and take in a bit.
What is it, replenishing your creative energies?
Yeah, you have a motor car, don't you?
Yes.
Well, it goes into service every now and again, just to sort of, change the oil and change the filters. And that's really what it is. I also wanted to build a house, and I don't know if you've ever worked with builders, but you need to be there.
Yeah. I also have, like you, a motorcycle, so I know what that's like. But not a BMW.
Right. So I wanted to just sort of spend a bit of time with the family, and I'm now beginning to read scripts again and to think about what I'm going to be doing in the next few months.
How important, is the choosing of roles to an actor, and how do you go about that? Because you clearly, to read about you, you have thought about not wanting to be stereotyped in a certain way. After Brideshead and French Lieutenant's Woman, I guess there was some danger of you being stereotyped, as a romantic actor, and so you chose other kinds of things that gave a different persona to you.
I think choosing roles is all, really, because you are the sort of actor that is a result of the sort of parts you play. I've always looked for characters who surprise me, characters who are different from other characters I've played, so that I can, just have a better time, really.
If you don't want to inhabit the character, you don't want to do the role.
That's right. And I also have to want to tell the story. Yeah. Filming is not all it's cracked up to be, and if you're not really being stretched by the story, by the character, then you earn good money, yes, but it's a little tedious. So I like to really stretch myself with the best actors, the best directors, on stories which I won't be ashamed of, on characters which will take me to a foreign place in myself.
Have you made in that surprising choices where it turned out significantly better than you thought it would, and also disappointing choices where it turned out significantly worse than you ever imagined it could be?
Of course, we're not prophets. I was very surprised that Reversal of Fortune was as successful for me and as a film.
That it would lead to an Oscar.
That's right. I had no idea it would do that.
Why do you think it did? What do you think it was about that character and your portrayal? As you know, there are people who knew, I think Dershowitz said this, or somebody said, you were more like Klaus von Bülow than Klaus von Bülow.
I don't know. It just captures the audience's imagination. Yeah. And yet you can do wonderful work which doesn't. There's no telling.
Is Damage one of those for you?
I was less happy with Damage than I hoped I would be, yes. It wasn't quite the film I wanted.
You're being a little gentle. You didn't like it, did you? You have said that 3 weeks before they began shooting, you wanted to back out of it, right? Because you didn't what?
I felt that we were being too objective. It's written from a book, taken from a book by Josephine Hart, which is an extraordinary book which charts the roller coaster dive of a man towards nothing because of his passion for a woman. That's an extraordinary journey.
Yes, it is.
in the book, she takes you with you. The reader, she takes you with you, and you have those heart-stopping moments that you have on those rides, and you're going through what that man's going through. And I felt that we didn't manage to do that in the movie, and what happened was the audience were able to sit back and watch this man going on this ride, which isn't the same thing at all.
They could watch it but didn't feel it?
They didn't feel it. They sat there, and I think a lot of them thought, what an idiot. I mean,
yeah. Why is he doing this?
Why is he doing
And if you can't identify with his passion and connect to it, then the film doesn't work for the audience. Yeah.
And I felt it could be mistaken to be a 40-year-old having a fling with a young girl, which wasn't what it was at all.
And he wouldn't have thrown everything away for that.
That's right.
Is that right?
That's
Gone crazy about her, being obsessed by her.
That's right.
But did it have anything to do with you and the casting of it? In other words, I wasn't the right actor to do this in the end. It should have been a different kind of actor.
I would have recast the three main performers, personally, myself included. I felt I would have liked somebody less likely to fall in love to play it. And my screen history is as the lover.
Yeah, you have a romance about you in terms of as a lover and somebody who's enormously attracted to women, and there's an element of romance about you. That's right.
Problem was, I wanted to work enormously with Louis Malle, who's a director I admire greatly and always have done. I loved the material, and I suppose I was seduced into thinking that it would be great to do it, but actually I think I was a little too young and just not, I don't think I was the right man for the job.
Yeah. And what intrigues me about that, I want to move on to House of the Spirits, is that how so many talented people can come together on a project, and for reasons perhaps it's not going to happen.
That's why it's such an exciting business. I mean, you don't know when it's going to gel. You don't know when it's going to work. It's sort of like alchemy making a movie.
Yeah.
You put everything in and you hope it's going to work, and sometimes it doesn't, and you can't really tell why, and sometimes it does, and it's tremendous. And the audience are part of that. A part of that combination. They have to be ready for that story.
Yeah.
So it's all in timing, I think. And it's very interesting just having had the Oscars and looking at the films which really attracted the audience and the voters this year.
From Piano to Schindler's List.
That's right.
Yeah.
6 years ago, I wonder if that would have happened. I mean, this was just the moment for those films. Yeah. And if we knew how to make successful films every time, I mean, Steven Spielberg does, but if the rest of us knew how to make successful films all the time, we'd all be very wealthy.
No, he doesn't know how to do it every time. I mean, Color Purple was not a successful film. I don't think that, what was the one about 1941 wasn't a successful film. I mean, it may have been well made, but it wasn't successful in a sense. So he doesn't always...
the audience's imagination.
Exactly.
Because movies are like anything. I mean, they're like pictures, they're like paintings, they're like plays. They are a communication between the storyteller, of which I am part, the director is part, the storyteller and the audience. And the audience is as much part of that as we are.
Why did you choose, I want to come back in a minute to the sort of the notion of doing, on the one hand, Damage and then in Butterfly, both about passions of different kinds, but House of the Spirits, why did you choose that? What was it about the character that interested you?
Well, it's a character who spans 55 years, from 25 years old to 80. I'm an actor who doesn't like acting when I see it, and I don't like makeup when I see it. And I thought, well, how are we going to do this to please, to convince an audience? I mean, I'm midway, I'm 45, I'm midway in the middle of that. And I thought, that's a challenge, that'll keep me interested. I also get to ride a horse, which I've never been, which I do in life, but I've never been doing on movies, and that's nice.
How is it? Oh, go ahead, then I'll come back.
I get to work with a very interesting cast, with a director, Billy August, who I much admire, on a story which I felt and feel will enthrall an audience. I think audiences now, more than ever, want films which interest their heads and touch their hearts and wrap themselves around their souls. And I think Isabel Allende's House of the Spirits does that. It's a film that will make you laugh, and will interest you, and will make you cry. And I think that's what cinema audiences seem to want at the moment.
For those who haven't read the book, the story is?
It's difficult to encapsulate, which is why
It's difficult to make a movie of it.
That's right. It's set in Chile in 1925. A man, not wealthy, pretty penniless, goes out to make his fortune, to marry a girl who he's in love with. He finds a little bit of gold. He's a miner for about 5 years. Comes back, she dies before he's married her. And he, at that moment, turns against the world and decides to fight it. And he goes out and pitches from then on. Eventually has built up an estate, marries the girl's sister, played by Meryl Streep, who is a clairvoyant. And from then on, it's, in a way, two parallel stories between the women in his life and him. He's a man who is a very male man, a man who has no understanding of the female, no female in him, and no understanding of the female. He can't communicate his emotions. He wants a family, and yet he drives his wife and his daughter away from him. It goes through many years, through great political turmoil, and eventually the women forgive him. It's about forgiveness. That's one of the things the film is about, and about redemption and understanding and allowing us to see the face, on the political terms, to see the face of the torturer.
How true is it to the book?
I think it's wonderfully true to the spirit of the book.
The spirit of the book, yeah.
Sadly, a film always has to be a condensation of a book. Brideshead is a slimmer book to House of the Spirits and took us 13 hours to tell. We have to tell House of the Spirits in 2.5. So, but what Billy August, who wrote the script, has done, he's condensed the main themes wonderfully, and I think it's very true to the spirit.
All right, let me take a look. Here's a clip. House of the Spirits. Jeremy Irons, Meryl Streep, Glenn Close. Who am I missing?
Vanessa Redgrave.
Winona Ryder.
And
Winona Ryder.
Antonio Banderas.
Isn't she beautiful, Esteban?
Sometimes I wish that Mother could have seen this. She would have been proud of you, Esteban.
And to think, a little girl, I can hardly wait. But I don't like the way she walks around so much. The doctor distinctly told her to rest a lot. He also said she shouldn't sleep with you anymore.
He said what?
He said it wasn't good for Clara if you slept together during the rest of her pregnancy.
He didn't mention anything about that to me.
Well, I'm just telling you what he said. Anyway, I don't think it's good for Clara, with too much excitement.
It seems to me, Farrell, that you're interfering in matters that don't concern you.
Good morning, Clara.
Is all this kissing really necessary?
Oh, yes, it is.
Let me just talk about working with these people and the notion. I mentioned Glenn and how you feel about her, and Meryl, who you worked with before. Is there anything to be said about how a cast gets along together on a film, having anything to do with the success of a film?
I'd like to say yes.
I know, but the answer is no. That's what I thought.
I think the answer is no.
I do too.
I think there can be chemistry between two actors who hate each other. I've fortunately never had that experience. It's much nicer if you all get on.
Now, did you and De Niro get along on The Mission?
Not to start with, no.
Yeah. There was, what, tension?
A lot of tension. He, I think, would have been very happy for a much older actor to have played it. Yeah. Not necessarily an English actor. I think a lot of American actors are wary of English actors because we have a sort of style, a sort of apparent technique. We talk the way we do. And, you know, I think that puts a lot of American actors off. And it wasn't until about halfway through the picture that I think Bobby and I realized that we were both doing the same thing. We were both just gnawing the apple from a different side, but actually we were getting to the core of the same apple. And we used that in the relationship. And so by the time we became friends in the picture, we had become friends as people.
How do you think do you think he approaches acting differently than you do? I mean, we all know about his obsessive sense of wanting to know the character and do anything. I mean, from Raging Bull to all the things in terms of all the stuff. Does he approach it any differently? I mean, do you have any sense of that? If you two very distinguished actors approach this craft in a very different way.
He mulls things over much more than I do.
And you do...
I tend to play it off the cuff more.
Yeah. Relying on
instinct.
what?
Instinct. I mean, I would say that I probably come to decisions quicker than Bobby.
Is that
doesn't
because
mean
of the
I
training you had?
Maybe. I don't think I necessarily come to better decisions than him. I mean, I think he's the greatest film actor in the world. I think he's wonderful.
Stop. The single greatest film actor in the world?
Now. Yeah, I think so. It's very invidious to say that sort of thing, but I'm a huge admirer of him.
And why would you say, what is it that he does that you find so much to be admired? I mean, can you, other than the fact that he takes a role and makes something that's so extraordinary out of it?
He makes his characters very different. He is completely immersed in them. I see nothing of him there. It was very interesting working with him because he does take a while to make any decision, even if it's where should we go for dinner. And yet I went to see his picture the other day, The Bronx Tale.
Yeah, right.
What a picture. Why wasn't that nominated for an Oscar?
Yeah.
I mean, that had to be up there, surely, even, you know, for Best Director. I thought, wonderful, wonderful work, purely on the casting. I mean, tremendous cast, just so exact, all people who were fresh to us in the main. Beautiful locations, great soundtrack, and a lovely story. So that's an example of a picture which you would imagine would be hailed and which sort of, you know, came and was enjoyed by some people and went.
And got
that's timing. But I actually
good
saw it
reviews,
twice.
not enthusiastic reviews.
That's right. I sat through it one night, and the next night I thought, I want to see that again. And I sat through it again, which I rarely do.
And when you do you do it because you saw something that you wanted to know more about?
I was just so amazed that this was the first picture he directed. And I realized, watching it, that that's why he's such a good actor, because he takes such time and care over making each individual choice. Because that's all acting is, really. It's making a choice at every moment. You know, how do you play each line? How do you... It's a performance is a mass of individual choices. And Bobby takes such care with all of his.
But I have read you say something that was intriguing to me, and tell me if I'm wrong, or if somebody just got it wrong, is that acting is there are 4 or 5 in a film. There are 4 or 5 instances where you really have to act, where you really require great acting. The rest of it is kind of just being.
I think that's true. I think that's true in the main.
4 scenes, 4 moments, 4 something.
That's right, which are really... It depends, of course, on the film. One can't generalize, but an awful lot of the time you're just acting natural, which is not
moving the story along.
That's right, which is not that easy. You only have to put somebody who's never appeared in front of a camera before and say to them, just, you know, cross that room, and you think, oh God, and you realize that you know, there is more to it than really what I'm saying. But as far as needing to pull something out of the bottom of your soul, those sort of moments, they never come more than 4 or 5.
This is the stupidest question I've ever had. What is this thing called acting? What is this thing? I mean, you're exactly right. You put a camera in front of somebody and say, read this, and then put it in front of an actor. I mean, what?
I don't know. It's concentration, it's relaxation, it's playing, being able to play. Kids do it all the time. Yeah. It's being able to immerse yourself in something else and to ignore all of that and to take yourself into a different skin. I don't know.
When has it been the best for you?
Oh. I always find it so difficult. And on film, it's never really the best, because some performances in the theatre, I think, when you think, yeah, I played that ball right, it just went down there and cracked well. And you feel you feel the audience, and you think, yes, it's really communicating what we're all here for. But on film, you know, you do it, you worry about whether you've done it right, you look at the rushes, you think, I wish I'd done it differently, and then it's cut together, and you think, I wish, oh, it's actually better than I thought, yes.
Is that because of editing, though, and occasionally, or because...
Oh, often.
Editing...
Editing can make it better. It can also make it worse if you have a bad editor or a bad director. But no, normally, you know, film performances are really, it seems to me, like making a patchwork. You create these little squares, and the director puts them all together and makes that quilt. And and creates your performance. So it's interesting. I've gone even further. I just made an animated picture for Disney called The Lion King, which I saw yesterday, and it's incredible. And that is because there I'm working with an animator, and I'm putting a voice on, and he's drawing the picture at the same time, and then the editors and the director is working with it as well. So I'm an even smaller part of the character. One is just an ingredient, but hopefully, in the animated picture, I'm able to suggest things through my voice to the animator, and then that suggests ideas to the director, so it'll seeds plant things. I don't know where performances come from, but it's certainly not all the actor.
Redford directs, De Niro now directs, Warren Beatty directs, Woody Allen obviously directs. I mean, is it something you want to do, that you can have a passion for?
I think directing's like taking photographs. We can all do it, but I think only a few people can do it and make a great picture. And I'd be worried about just making a little snap that you'd want to put in the bin. So, I don't know, it's very hard to direct well.
So you haven't thought about it? You've thought about it, but you haven't yet had the courage to want to go forward with it, because you don't know whether you can be as good as you would insist that you be.
That's right.
Is that it?
That's right. I have a sister who was a flautist, and she eventually stopped and became an actress, in fact, but she stopped because the sound she made didn't match the sound she heard in her ear. And so she stopped doing it, because in her case it was her nerves that stopped her making the sound she heard. And
That's an extraordinary story. The sound she made was not the sound that she heard in her ear. That must be painful.
So she stopped. And it was purely nerves that were stopping her. You know, she knew how she wanted it to sound, and yet that wasn't happening. And so
that says a lot about her. That's very positive in terms of courage.
Absolutely.
To
She's
be
now
able
become a
to
wonderful
say
actress.
no. Yeah, to say no to this.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Do you have any fear?
I do. I have fear for my family mainly. For myself, no. I'm pretty fearless.
You are. I mean, you've gotten to a point where you're confident in the craft, confident in your
the craft, my career.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. Whenever I'm not working, I feel like a plumber.
Do you really?
Not an actor. I'm not one of those actors who sort of feel like an actor all the time. I watch other people do performances, and I think, see, I couldn't do that. I mean, I saw Dan Day-Lewis do In the Name of the Father, and I said to him afterwards, I'm going to stop now. I'm just going to
You looked at that
else.
and said, I couldn't be that good, so why am I in this business? I'm getting out of here, because you actually had that thought.
I told him. I verbalized it.
And you believed it.
I did. But I don't
So how
have
do you
fear
go on
about
then?
that. I don't have fear about
Okay, but
that.
so how do you go on? You just sort of wake up and have tomorrow you get a good night's sleep and it passes.
Yeah, I don't worry too much. I know there are other things to life than acting.
Like what?
Like building houses, like sailing boats, like,
Riding motorcycles.
riding motorcycles. They don't earn very much money, this is the problem. I'd like to be able to write. I have not really done so yet, but I'm still nagging at it. Do you write?
No.
It's a tough one. I really admire writing.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, I have a lot of them on the show and admire them enormously. But I mean, and I treat that subject like you do too. Do you write? Meaning, do you write well? I mean, is it something that when you have people that come to this table who are so gifted at it, you think twice about saying, I write, because they bring so much to it. I mean, I've been stunned by people who have said just what you say about the performance by Daniel Day-Lewis in The Name of the Father. I mean, it's just amazing. You see somebody and you say, they do it so well. What am I doing? Athletes will say that. Painters will say that. I mean, they'll see something and they find it so inspiring.
That's right.
That they question their own,
But of course...
But out of that comes something else, though.
I think so. I think if a pole vaulter is watching another pole vaulter, he'll think, Jesus, that's high. But of course, when he does it, he's not even thinking about it. He's just doing it. And I think it's a bit like that. I mean, I suppose I'll get a script and one day, be doing something which, if I look down, I'd think, oh, this is difficult. But while you're doing it, you're just doing it.
Yeah. You have got to, though, look at your life today. Your family, house in Oxfordshire, right?
That's right.
And the career and where you are. And you must say to yourself, You must feel good. You must like where you are, without sort of false satisfaction. You must like where you are because you have chosen well in terms of an arc of things. You haven't been stereotyped. You were worried at one time about being stereotyped as an English actor, as a romantic actor. And it sort of worked out, and an Oscar in addition.
I'm, I think, very, very fortunate that I'm in a position to work with the best in my field.
Is that what success brings?
For me, yeah. That's the only thing. I mean, fame, you can have it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Money, well, you know, as long as you can pay the bills.
But once you get enough, isn't it?
Yeah. But once you don't have too many money worries, and that's all relative.
Yeah.
Then to have your health, to have a family, and to be able to go to work on projects which you value and which you feel in some small way are life-enhancing. You know, the world needs storytellers to broaden our horizons, to take us into new places. And in a small way, to be part of that, and to be able to go to work with some of the best in the business. I mean, I'm very, very lucky. I don't know what I've done to deserve it.
I thank you for joining us. It is a pleasure to have you here. I hope we can do this again. You're welcome here at any time. In the House of the the House of the Spirits, Isabel Allende's book, the Chilean novelist, which opens soon around the country.
April 1st.
April 1st with Meryl Streep and you and Glenn Close and
Winona Ryder,
Vanessa, and others.
Antonio Banderas.
There's so much more to talk about. I thank you for coming. It's a pleasure to have you. It really is. Thank you very much. All right. We thank you for joining us this evening. A special pleasure to have Jeremy Irons here. I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow night. Thank you for joining us this evening.